All praise and how about you now, shot? People getting in the Halloween spirit. There's a dragon. More than likely Esau. Shalom. All honor, praise, and glory be to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Wahakudash Wakah. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at the great millstone who will. Peace and blessings to the faithful elect, right? The hopeful elect. The brothers out teaching this word, truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth, where we have been scattered to, unfortunately, before a greater good, which is just due to the curses which was brought upon us by the breaking of the covenant, the holy covenant, which was just simply a deal made by our forefathers, right? Our ancestors with the Most High God, who people call God ignorantly, but he's the Most High God, and he has a name, right? His name is Yahweh, right? Bashim Yahushua. And to the rest of you believers out there, women, children, friends of the prophets of the Israelite nation, which consists of the so-called blacks, aka Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, to you I say peace and blessings as well. Shalom wa barakim. If you're proving that faith by your works, and we know it's hard, but you got to keep going, man. You got to get back up. All right. Halloween. This title can bounce around, but this is pretty much just going into the truth behind Halloween according to God's word. So, as you can see right here, we have an article. TMZ just came out today, I believe. Let's get the date on it. Yes, so this just came out. So as you can see, this is TMZ. This just came out, man. Halloween display. Cops called for a fake massacre. What a bloody mess. October 28, 2020, 8:06 p.m. It says, morbid bloody Halloween display terrifies Dallas residents. Cops called. All right, now where do people get this from? This just all stems back to the dragon, what you seen in the beginning of this lesson, this video. Where do people get this from? Well, Revelations 18:5, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. You see? So all the different nationalities you have in America, right? It says, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So it's talking about the place of Lady Liberty, right? America. This is where people get this from, because obviously this took place in America. A morbid, bloody, and frightful Halloween display at a Texas man's home is eliciting more than gasp from his neighbors. He's getting police visits too. Revelation 18:5 again, for all nations have drunk of the wine of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornications with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundancies of her delicacies. So that wine, going into the wine, Jeremiah 51:7, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's Yahweh Bashim Yahushua's hand that hath made all the earth drunken. So what is that talking about? It's just talking about the setting up, the infrastructure, the ways, the philosophies, the teachings of the place. Babylon is just the wine, right? Which the Lord served out to all the nations that live in Babylon. And Babylon is just a code word for America, right? So everyone feeds off America, right? All the nationalities here, no matter what you are, what race you are, right? They all feed off America, right? The ways of America. So that's the wine. So once again, Jeremiah 51:7, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's Yahweh Bashmiel Shah's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. See that? Now going back, Revelation 18:3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So this where does this stem from? It just stems from the ways of America. This is how America moves. So this is where people come from with things like this. These are the ways of America, right? The traditions of Halloween. See that? Let me go ahead and finish this off real quick. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. So the leaders of all the different countries of the earth, they even found the way to be led to get drunk off the ways, right? To become indoctrinated off the ways and traditions of the so-called white man, right? Keyword, white man, so-called white man. It says with her and the merchants of the earth all wax rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So we're going to come back to that real quick. Revelation 12:9, and the great dragon was cast out. You see? That old serpent, the devil. So this is where it comes from, man. These things just simply come from the place called Babylon, which is actually the dragon, which is why you've seen that in the beginning of the video, right? It says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan. Who do you hear people calling the devil 24/7? So-called white man. See that? And it's gonna tell you that, which deceiveth the whole world. See, that's like when you're drunk, you're deceived. You see that? What place we just found out is the place. It's pretty much the wine and the cup of the Lord. Babylon. Babylon being a code word for what? America. Babylon is the place that has gotten all the nations drunk to where they live out this thing called Halloween, right? That's one of the things that America's drunk off of, right? So all these different ways and traditions and thought processes and philosophies are the ingredients to just make up a wine, right? Which is just the ways of the devil, the so-called white man. And Halloween is one of those ingredients, which we'll be getting into. It says, and Satan, right, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. See, there it goes, so-called white man. That's not talking about an actual dragon, an actual snake, actual serpent. It's just talking about the characteristics, right? The ways, the construct of a certain man running the world right now, man. AKA also the earth, because it's been given into his hands. You see? So this is where people come from with these particular things. He said he was cast out into the earth. You see? And he was brought down low, because the so-called white man is up very high. You know, everything, all his ways, Halloween being one of them, is on a high pedestal. It says, and his angels were cast out with him. All right. So as you see, these are the ways of the so-called white man. This thing called Halloween, right? And when you break the word hollow down, you just simply get hollow, which simply means empty, right? So before we get into this lesson, let me just hit a couple more points real quick. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You see? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. You see? If not, where and who is he? So this is where people get this from, man. Right? You go look on NASA, the logo, right, of the so-called white man's newest venture, which is, he's been working on it for some time, but it's going out into the heavens, right? The sky, the outer space, to try to see if he can live on Mars, right? Because he know the destruction that's coming to this place due to reasons and traditions like Halloween, which is a very unclean, it's just a demonic, dirty, unclean day, man. Time, which we're gonna get. You know? But he's only gonna be brought back down. So he's that high up. Right? He presented this thing to people called Halloween, to where he was able to fund himself into his next demonic venture, which is trying to live in outer space, which was never given to him. They say the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. See that? So if the wicked is running the earth, all these people finish, man. All these people, that's where they get it from. That's the leader. Case in point, Proverbs 29:12. If a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. You see that? So you taxpayers, you pay the government, right? The tax collectors. You see that? But you're really the government. So you will be just servants. Case in point, Proverbs 22:7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. You see that? To the lender. So the so-called white man, he is the lender, man. You see that? And you will be the servant. So when you go back here in Proverbs 29:12, just to prove the point, if a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. You see, so the so-called white man believe he can keep this thing, which actually is adverse to everything the Most High stands for, and we're going to show you that in just a second, man. Halloween is very wicked, right? But he hearkens to that. Let's get the word hearken real quick. It says to hear, be attentive. They make sure this gets celebrated every year, observed every year. It's a whole lot day, a whole lot day. You see, that's spiritual. If a ruler hearken to lies, you see, whole lot day. Not holy, but whole lie. Break the word down. You got a whole, you got a lie, you got a day. You see that? It says to hear, to be attentive, heed, incline, attend, hearken, pay attention. They make sure they give all eyes is focused on these wicked holiday, whole lot days, right? And that's Halloween, one of them being Halloween. Mark 7:3. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands oft, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. And when they come from the market, except they wash, they eat not. And many other things there be which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots, brassing vessels, and of tables. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, why walk not thy disciples according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? And he answered and said unto them, well hath Isaiah prophesied of you, hypocrites. Well have Isaiah prophesied of you, hypocrites, as it is written, the people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of the Heavenly Father, ye hold the tradition of men. And as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such as like things ye do. And he said unto them full well, ye reject the commandment of the Most High, that ye may keep your own tradition. So that's the so-called white man, man. He lays aside the commandments of the Most High, and mind you, he puts on the back of his dollar, "In God we trust." You see that? You're gonna have to give account for those words. But anyway, it says, those that lay aside the commandment of God, they do that just to hold traditions of men, and that's what people do. Because you could rebuke a lot of people with this truth, right? With the truth of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, these scriptures, and really they know the Most High is not getting down with it. But that's the point. They lay aside the commandment of God to keep the tradition of the so-called white man, because they've been made drunk with it. And that's what he does, right? He says in God he trusts, but what God? He never told you that, but he holds the Bible and stuff like that, swears on the Bible in his courtroom, stuff like that, only to actually lay it aside and hold on to his own traditions, and Halloween being one of them, and actually being a whole lot day, which is not found in the scriptures to be kept, to do, right? It says that you may keep your own tradition. Colossians 2:8. So this is where people get this from. They get it from the so-called white man, which is a hypocrite, man. It says, Colossians 2:8. Bless any man, Salakia. Colossians 2:8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Right? Okay, when you look up the word Halloween, it says the word Halloween or Halloween dates to about 1745 and is of Christian origin. The word Halloween means saints' evening. It comes from a Scottish term for All Hallows Eve. When you look up the word hallow, it says honor as holy, make holy, consecrate a saint or holy person, right? But it not only means that. When you go into it on the other end, this is hollow, right, with the O. It says having a hole or empty space inside without significance. That's the real hollow, man. Matthew 7:15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruit. Do men gather grapes of? So you got men, they put, when you look at the word at a surface level, okay, yes, it points back to hollow, which is in the scriptures. When you hollow something, you set it apart, you make it holy, right? So the saints are hollow, but you got two words, you got to play on hollow. If you just switch the O out with the A for the A, or you switch the A out for the O, you have hollow as well, right? Because when you actually look at this day, it has nothing to do with being holy. And we're going to show you that in the scriptures. It says, Matthew 7:15, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing. See that? Because people think these holidays are like, really, they kind of got the vibrations put on them that they are holy. People think Christmas is holy. People think Thanksgiving is holy because certain sentiments is said. But if you just look at the works, which we're going to get, it says, but inwardly, when we really get down to the depths of it, right, when you go behind it, right, the truth behind Halloween, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Is empty. It has nothing to do with being holy. Halloween. It says, really has something to do with being empty. It says, and pointless, right? Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. You see, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. And we're going to show you how all these activities and different things you see on Halloween are, in fact, according to the word of God, Yahweh, who people call God, the Most High God, right? The Most High power, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. We're going to show you that. It says, verse 18, a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Salaki, we're going to jump down to the point. Verse 20, wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. You see that? So you can have it look like that all day, but it's not. It got to actually be that. You see, and to tell you that in verse 21, not everyone that said unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. You see? So you could just have a word and talk all day, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. So they could pick up a Bible, you could own a Bible, but do you actually know the Lord? Do you actually deal with the Lord, man? You can have a word that so-called denotes holiness, but when you actually look what that word you attach, look at the work that you attach to this word, they don't even match. You see, right? The work, the body, the performance, right, of this tradition. When you go do this, get this bucket, and people dress up, and this guy, he has bodies all over you see, this has nothing to do with being holy and set apart. But this, what he said, this is a Halloween display. You see? So this is not the right hollow. It's actually this word hollow, having a without significance, a hole of depression in something. See that? Meaningless, synonyms, meaningless, empty, valueless, worthless. See, fruitless, profitless, pointless, unavailingly. Matthew 7:19, every tree that bringeth forth not good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. So this actually, when we finish with this, you're going to see that these are not the works of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, right? And the so-called white man and his traditions will get him destroyed. And this is another reason, one of the many reasons why America will be destroyed. And Lord willing, you can see that at the end of this lesson. This is Colossians 2:18. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. What does vain mean? See? We just went into it. Empty. So vain means hollow. You see that? So vain ween is what you can call this, man. Because they say when you go back into the word, the etymology of Halloween, it says, to finish it off, the word Halloween or Halloween dates back to about 1745 and is of Christian origin. So they should be able to date it further because it tells you that the Jews, Paul, right, he was a Jew, they were first called Christians at Antioch, right, back in Greece, right? It says the word Halloween means saints' evening. It comes from a Scottish term for All Hallows Eve, the meaning before All Hallows Day, the evening before, right? So if you got hollow, which means empty, it actually means vain, which means devoid of truth. See that? It says, in Scots, the word Eve is even, right? So even points a certain time, right? So you really have an empty time. See that? You have a devoid of truth time. That's when the most horrific imaginations come out, are manifested, you see, are acted out, are wished upon. People channel demons. You see what I'm saying? See that? A time devoid of truth. So it's also called, it says, and this is contracted to EEN or EN. It says also called Halloween, All Hallows Eve, All Saints Eve. You see? Toten's tag, Blue Christmas is related to these right here. Thursday of the Dead. You see that? Of the Dead. Celebrations, trick or treating. Costumes, parties, making jack-o'-lanterns, lighting. Now, there's nothing wrong with a pumpkin. It's what you use a pumpkin for. You know? Now when you go into the etymology online, etymon, right? You got ology, which means the study of, and you got etymon, which is, Salaki, let me get that right, etymology. You got the etymon, which is the true knowledge of a word, and then ology, which is the study of. See what I'm saying? But anyway, it says Halloween or Holy Eve, right? That hollow part. So set apart time, right? So you have a set apart time for not having any truth around. It is the evening. So this is where people harness the most lies, the most opposite of truth, right? The most opposition of truth. It says the evening previous to the celebration of All Saints, that is propitious to the rites of divination. You see that? You see that? It is an opinion. Now we're gonna find. Now what is? Let me see this really quick. Now what is? It says that is propitious to the rites of divination. Now, what is divination? They say the practice of seeking knowledge, or the practice of seeking knowledge of the future, or the unknown by supernatural means. So this is when people channel demons, man. That's what this is about. But you got the higher ups that get into that. So we go ahead and get into this lesson now. We go ahead and finish this verse out. Colossians 2:8. It says, beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world. You see what is vain? One more time, it says empty, vain, devoid of truth, of places, vessels, which contain nothing, of men, empty-handed. You see? It says destitute of spiritual wealth. It says of one who boasts of his faith as a transcendent possession, yet is without the fruits of faith. You see what I'm saying? It says metaphorically of endeavors, labors, acts, which result in nothing. Fruitless, without effect, vain of no purpose. That's what Halloween truly is, man. Halloween. See that? It says, so beware lest any man spoil you. That man, that serpent, that dragon, that same thing you seen in the beginning, man. We're going to tie that into something really heavy, man. And we're going to show you through the scriptures that, yes, channeling demons, the dead are real, man. Seeking, because that's what that divination is going into. It says, through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Hamashiach. So with all that being said, let's start out. So now we know Halloween actually just means the void of truth, right? Hollow, and then EEN, which is hollow, the actual word hollow, empty, void, meaningless, purposeless, right? The void of truth, fruitless, to no avail, you know, right? And then you got EEN, which comes from Eve, which just simply means time. So you have a time that people are completely devoid from truth, which is actually the time that Esau wants to push out, because he's able to conjure up and channel the most wickedness and all his desires, you know, and that's his power. The Lord allows him to do that, man. You know, so he does it. He makes sure it's observed every year. Now, it says, propitious.
Propitious. Propitious. Propitious.
Propitious, giving or indicating a good chance of success. Favorable. See, advantages. Fortunate. Optimistic. It's not heaven sent. But on the left hand side, yeah. So these people, they tap into the spirit world, right? They're able to do it during this time. That's what Esau understands, right? Some left hand stuff on a deeper level. And then going back into divination.
Divination. Divination. Divination.
The practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. Now we're going to show you that's a real thing. First Samuel, according to God, according to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, you can channel the dead. You know, you can. This will be that goes on, man. It says this is First Samuel 28:3. Now Samuel was dead. Who was Samuel? He was a prophet, right, of the Lord, an Israelite prophet, Israelite man, right? And this is out to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, man. And this is a rebuke on all you heathens out there and all the rest of you so-called blacks, Native American Indians, Hispanics as well that do not want to adhere to this. You will be destroyed because you will be spoiled. And when something is spoiled, you get rid of it. The Lord's going to get rid of you because you're following the traditions of man, right? You've been deceived, man. It says 1 Samuel 28:3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him. See that? And buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits. Now, who is Saul? Saul is pretty much the symbol of people that the Lord of the Israelite nation will not be dealing with due to their actions. Now listen to this. And Saul, he was the first Israelite king. He was the first king of Israel. It says, and Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits, and the king, Salakia, and the wizards out of the land. Now, we're going to jump down. Verse 6, and when Saul inquired of the Lord Yahweh, and the Lord Yahweh answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Now, the Lord, this is pretty much, these are showing you the ways that you can connect and talk to the Lord, right? The Lord could talk to you through dreams. He could talk to you through prophets. And he could talk to you through the Urim, which is something that the priest dealt with. See that? Now, but that's a whole nother thing. Now, none of those ways he got word back on. So the Lord wasn't talking to him. He wasn't dealing with Saul, right? Through none of those avenues. It says of the Lord. It says, verse 7, then Saul said unto his servant, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit. So right here, Saul has just contradicted what he knows to actually be law. And we're going to get that in a second. That I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at endure. Now, this is Leviticus 19:31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. Now this is said to the children of Israel. This is a commandment made to the Israelites. You see, first thing said in this chapter. And the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel. You see, and say unto them, ye shall be holy, for I, that holy, that true hollow. It says, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. You see, so the Lord is the standard for how one is deemed, is to deem himself or herself holy or not. Right? You are to deem someone holy or not based off the Lord. And where do you find the Lord? His word, his scriptures, the Holy Bible, right? Old Testament, Apocrypha, and the New Testament. Going back. So that's commanded, that we are not to seek. So that's commanded. We are not to seek the Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, aka blacks, aka Negroes, so-called, right? You're the Israelites. So the children of Israel have been commanded to be holy according to the Lord, according to his word. You see what I'm saying? Because he's our God, right? That's how you truly become hollow. You see? But the so-called white man has a play on words. You see? Because he know words carry vibration. So he just put the wrong hollow on purpose. But they both read the same. See that? That's why you got to pay attention to the fruits, the works. Anywho, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord Yahweh, your God. You see, your power. Now, when you go into that word, familiar spirits, a wab. You see, one who evokes the dead. See that? What does evoke mean? It says bring or recall to the conscious mind. You see, invoke a spirit or deity. You see, call up, summon up, synonyms, conjure up. Men are not just saying these things. Bring to mind, call to mind, put one in mind of, summon up. Summon, invoke, give rise to, bring forth, elicit. What is the word used in this article? A morbid, bloody, and frightful Halloween display at a Texas man's home is eliciting more than gas from his neighbors. And you get that word elicit. It says evoke or draw out. You see? So these people put these things out to actually conjure up, right? Conjure up what though? You see? Evoke out, draw out a response, answer, or fact from someone in reaction to one's own actions or questions. You see that? And this is the Salaki, this is example in the form of a sentence. They invariably elicit exclamations of approval from guests. You see that? So you're dealing with something very wicked, man. That's what we've been dealing with here. Now, going back to this word, it says a person with a familiar spirit in the Hebrew is awab, and it says one who evokes the dead, ghost, spirit of a dead one, practice necromancy. And that's when you're dealing with, pretty much being a witch, man, A necromancer is to pretty much have relations with the dead. You see? So it's a witch, man. A person who practices necromancy, a wizard or magician, sorcerer, sorceress, wizard, warlock, witch, diviner, enchanter, enchantress, spiritualist, medium. You see? And another word, what you're going to see, we're going to get. You know what I'm saying? It's very heavy. One that has a familiar spirit. All right? Now, also, because it's the same thing for wizard, pretty much. See that? One who has a familiar spirit. It says, knowing, wise. Hence, a prophet, a wizard, always used in a bad sense of false prophets. So that woman was a false prophet, right? Because the prophets, they are the avenues to the Most High, right? You want to answer a response. You see what I'm saying? From the creator of heaven and earth, the power of all of this. You see what I'm saying? You got to go through a prophet. you know, more times than none, than a dream or the urim, as the scriptures say. But that's a whole nother thing, whole nother practice. It says, but listen to this. It says, a spirit of divination. There go that divination, man. See? So these people are 100%. And what is divination again? It says the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. You see? So the prophets, we divinate, because divinate goes into the word to divine, but divination more times than none, because you know that you just deal with the prophets. But when you get divination more times than none, is tapping into the power of all of this on the left hand side. You see, through the practices of the left hand side. You know, being a witch, being dealing with necromancy, being a wizard. But listen to this key word, a spirit of python. Now we're going to come back to that, right? And another word that we're going to get really quick, it says defiled. Tama, right? Tama, to be unclean, right? So when you defile, you become unclean. What is this being used with? Become unclean, become impure. You see? Ceremonially, to defile oneself. To defile oneself, be defiled. So what is this being used with? You see? To pronounce unclean, declare unclean. Pollute. You can make yourself unclean. Become unclean, to be polluted. See what I'm saying? You should see where this is going. So I'm gonna just tell you, so when you're dealing with somebody in this fashion, right? One, they're unclean. You're gonna become unclean. You see? Because it tells you right here, Leviticus 19:31, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. But before we get into that, we just have to show you what familiar spirits is. So it's just someone who simply, just to refresh you, Iwab, and it's someone who evokes the dead. And when you go into that word evoke, it means to call, to summon. See what I'm saying? To do all these different things, you know? Bring or recall to the conscious mind. Invoke a spirit or deity. Synonyms you have: bring to mind, call to mind, put one in mind of, call up, conjure up, summon up, summon, invoke, give rise to, bring forth, elicit, which is what that man was doing, right? Induce, stimulate, stir up, awaken, arouse, excite, suggest, recall, echo, reproduce, encapsulate, capture, express. All these different things, man. You know? So that's what that woman Saul was asking for, and he already knew the Lord told us don't do this. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. He already told us how to tap into the power, right? Into him. But the reason why he did it, because the Lord was not answering him anymore. So, and when Saul inquired of the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by urim, nor by prophets. Then said Saul unto his servant, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said unto him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. And Saul disguised himself. Why? Because this is the king still at the time, man. It says, and he already put away all of those that have familiar spirits. Because remember, it says, if a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. So if you're ruling over Israel, and Israel is the Lord's people, and Israel are the holy people and are commanded to be holy because the Lord, the creator of everything, is holy, right? That means you have to put rules and order for that. Because not only are they, right, of the holy people, but you are. So he had to put forth, get rid of all the, those that were doing that amongst our people, man. Or we will be defiled, as he says. But anyway, it says, and Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment and he went and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night, and he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring him up. You see, so he said, I pray thee, divine unto me. What does divination mean again? To practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. You see, so it's only somebody who pretty much have the knowledge of how to tap into, right, the power of all of this, man. You see? You got 2 ways, the left or the right. You see what I'm saying? Now, he said, I pray thee. So, and they came to the woman by night, right? And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit. And notice, the Halloween is at night. You see what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of wickedness that you could do at night. But I'm gonna come back to that. It says, I pray thee, divine unto me, the familiar spirit, by the familiar spirit. You see? So by you doing, invoking, right? By you calling up, because it's the same word right here. You see? By you evoking the dead. By you practicing necromancy. See what I'm saying? And that was given to people who pretty much are false prophets, man. You see what I'm saying? But they have the knowledge on how to tap into the power, right, of all this through the left-hand side. You see? Because really they're a demon. And the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest Salakia. And it says, continue, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring him up. You see? So this is right in the scriptures. Whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Saul have done. How he had cut off those that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die? You see what I'm saying? She's like, I ain't dealing with that no more. Because they like, yo, we know ain't nobody, okay. Because we got to keep this empire rolling. Those, Saul the king, and these is his men, So they want to keep that office. So like, yo, you ain't getting the answer. We know somebody who, see, they was wicked. That's why I say if a servant hearkened to lies, and they said that ultimately to Saul because they knew he was wicked. The scriptures say iron sharpeneth iron, man. See what I'm saying? They wouldn't have said that to him if they didn't think he would adhere to that. So once again, if a ruler hearkened to lies, all his servants are wicked. You see? So Saul always hearkened to lies, man. And Saul is the symbol, right? Is a the father of those that the Lord is no longer dealing with, the 2/3. You see what I'm saying? So they was wicked because Saul was wicked. Saul actually hearkened to lies. He was a hypocrite the whole time. You see? So they like, yo, let's go to her. She can bring back the dead. But listen, let's find out who he was trying to get summoned. And Saul swore to her by the Lord Yahweh, saying, as the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Remember, he's covered up. She doesn't know this is him. Then said the woman, whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel. See that? The prophet that just died, man. The Israelite prophet. The one that actually anointed Saul and made him king. See that? And when the woman saw, before he died, Saul went off because he wouldn't destroy the fake Jews, who today are the fake Jews, who are the Amalekites. He wouldn't destroy Amalek completely how the Lord wanted them terribly destroyed. You know, he didn't destroy all their goods. He destroyed them, but he didn't destroy all their goods. And he didn't destroy the king, I believe. So Samuel had to destroy him, you know, cut him to pieces. See what I'm saying? But anyway, so Saul was just full of it the whole time. But anyway, he said, "Bring me up Samuel." And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. You see? And the woman spake to Saul, saying, "Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul." You see? So Samuel rose, and when the woman saw Samuel, see that? And the king said unto her, jumping to 13, "Be not afraid, for what sawest thou?" And the woman said unto Saul, "I saw gods ascending out of the earth." You see, because when you tap into the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you get opened up to the spiritual world. That's not something you really want to be dealing with, you know? And the king said unto her, "Be not afraid," Salakia, jumping to 14, and he said unto her, "What form is he of?" See, he was trying to really get that unknown knowledge. They was divinating, man. Divination, the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. You see, the Lord can bug you out and have you be, they can kill, them spirits could kill you, man. See what I'm saying? And he said unto her, "What form is he of?" And she said, "An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle." And Saul perceived that it was Samuel. She like, "Oh, this sounds just him." He was like, "Man, it's him." And he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, "Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up?" And Saul answered, "I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God and the Most High is departed from me, and answered me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do." Right? Then see, the Lord allows it because it's doing wrong. You see, he could turn when he not dealing with you, he turn you over to do things which is no good. You're not supposed to be. That's like the Lord told you don't come over, and you still came over through the back door because you know the back door is open. You see, but he ain't actually dealing with you, so he will leave it open because all that actually he ain't actually dealing with. That's why that door there anyway. You see. Just be the proof of that, because they're going to actually come through the back door the other way. So these people not getting away with nothing, man. As the scriptures tell you that though a sinner do man, I got to get it. Ecclesiastes 8 and 11, I'm going to start at. "Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily." You see, because it's balanced. That's just a part of the Lord's balance. He needs the evil down here, man, to balance everything out and prove who the just is. See what I'm saying? One is one against another. The just being down here proves who the evil is. The evil down here proves against the just is. You see that? It says, "Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil." So that's why people like, man, good guys finish last. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want in now, because really, you know, they don't get, that's how the Lord, see, the Lord is scary. They really see it like pretty much, they pretty much see what the Lord did. They see that, man, you don't even get in trouble when you do bad, man. Or nigga be like, man, this is wicked anyway, or we gotta die anyway. Had a dude tell me that, man. You know what I'm saying? And so their heart is fully set in them to do evil. You know? I gotta die anyway. Busta Rhymes just said that on his song, man. He's like, "So it's the end of the world, huh? Well, let me get my off before." You know what I'm saying? Let me say this before. So you pretty much had to understand and know what you was doing was a lie the whole time. You just didn't have the integrity. You just didn't have the integrity, man, to actually withstand and to not receive your consolation on this side. See what I'm saying? "Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Heavenly Father, which fear before him." You see, "But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feared not before Yahweh Shem Yahushua." So just as quick as you get rich, damn near subjected to die, that can be for a short moment. You know? And I'm gonna let the dead rest, because I be mentioning the dead too much, man. I'm gonna let them rest, like the scriptures say. You know, but I can give you an example. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it says, he says, therefore I have called thee that thou mayest make known unto me what shall I do. So he used a familiar spirit. He used someone channeling demon. And my whole point of getting this is to show you that that's real, man. That's what they do on Halloween. This is in the scriptures. People just do it on the left-hand side. But he did all of this just to simply get in touch with the right-hand side. You see that? Then says Samuel, wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord Yahweh is departed from thee, and it's become thy enemy. He like, we ain't got no dealings. I'm a messenger for the Lord, man. If he not dealing with you, ain't I'm his mouthpiece? That means I'm not gonna talk to you. You see? And the Lord have done to him as he spake by me. He already denounced to you what it was. He ain't had nothing else to say. That's it. For the Lord have rent the kingdom out of thy hand and given it to thy neighbor. So that's the whole point on that. Now, go ahead and get into the point. So we pretty much got the origin of Halloween, like the meaning, the breakdown. You know. So yeah, these people do that, man. These people they deal with that's what this dude said. All of this comes from the so-called man. That's what this dude was doing, man. That's what these people do. When they setting these things up there, listening. You see, and listening is a definition of evoking. Now, you know, and that's true. It happens, man. That's real. That's a real thing. See that? That's exactly what's going down, man. You know? Powerful information. Man. So he said, Leviticus 19:31, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. When you're defiled, you become unclean. You see, you're polluted. You're not holy anymore. And that's really a demon that's on your mind now. You know, got your whole thought process completely off. And this is everything the so-called white man he gets down with. Because the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. You know, you go into, it means tamah, right? It looks as tame, you know what I'm saying? Basically, you get possessed. See that? To become unclean. When you're unclean, you basically become possessed. You become tamed by, you know, impurity, you know? When you do certain things, it put demons on you. That's what this scripture is telling us, to be foul, or in a moral sense, you know? And as you can see, this is something I'm gonna do a lesson on later. You know what I'm saying? This is a little more adult, so I won't even include all of this, you know? But yeah, man, tamah, you become possessed by doing certain acts. You see, and that's why the so-called white man pushes this so-called holiday. You become polluted. Is he to profane a land with wickedness? See that? To profane a land with wickedness. So if you deal with anything that's an act that can cause you to become unclean, you basically have become profaned by wickedness. And this all points back to the so-called white man, man. This is something he knows. This is something he knows the children of Israel can't deal with, because this is Esau's world. So-called white man. You see? As long as our people keep sinning, this is another way he keeps his world rolling. You know? And he can, like I said, obtain too, because it's also a moneymaker. You know, he can obtain to all these different ventures he have, his next wicked venture, by his different staples and traditions he has set up, which is just spoiling people and the Israelites first and foremost, because they're some of the main partakers in this. This is Hebrews 12:16. Lest there be any, but not as they don't know. See, they don't know the depths of all this, of what they're really doing. You see, this is Hebrews 12:16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person, as Esau. You see. So no one is more profane than the so-called white man. He's profane. He's unclean. He channels demons on the left-hand side. This is how he tap into anything. Look, unhallowed. When you go into that word profane, unhallowed. But he has a day called Halloween. You see that? Of men, ungodly. He's lawful to be trodden, because everyone gets the law is what condemns people. And this man talking about in God he trusts, man. Look, heathenish, wicked. So Halloween is very heathenish and wicked. You know? Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word that the Lord Yahweh Bashmiel shall speaketh unto you, O house of Israel, you Hispanics, so-called Native American Indians, and so-called blacks, aka Negroes. You're the Israelites. You're the house of Israel. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, you see, and be not dismayed. What's the way? This is their ways. They do all of this. You see what I'm saying? They do these things. This is what they get into. You don't know the depths of what it is they're doing. These people know what they're doing, man. They actually read. That's why they say if you want to keep a secret from a so-called black man, well, they don't say so-called, but a black man, you put it in the book. Because you niggas don't read, man. You know? It says, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. You see? What's the signs of heaven? Let's get that word sign real quick. And then heavens is the abodes of the Most High, man. You know? Signs, a distinguishing mark, a banner. You see that word sign goes into standard. What's the standard? The standard is this word, man. You see what I'm saying? They dismayed at what the Lord said don't do. What does it mean to be dismayed? It says they're broken, they're abolished, they're afraid. You know, it's like the vampire when he see light. You know, people dress up like vampires. They're confused. See, they're broken down. Why? Because their construct is completely to be adverse and a damn snake and serpent and devilish. And you know what? Since I say that, when you go into that word familiar spirits, right? I just want to show something real quick. We know it means to evoke the dead, one who evokes the dead, but on a deeper level. So you got demons, a woman in whom is a soothsayer of Damon. But to be sought about the land of the Edomites, not far from Moab. This is very heavy, because ventriloquists among the ancients, you see. But anyways, yeah, it's all type of, people got voodoo dolls they bring out. You see what I'm saying? It says who evokes the manes of the dead by the power of incantations and magical songs, in order to give answer as to the future or doubtful things. If you watch that movie Hocus Pocus, when the witches takes the stage and they start singing, listen to that song, man, because she's telling The witch is back and there's hell to pay and all of this other stuff. And that's destruction. Hell just goes into destruction, right? Being brought to a lower state, you know, and that's what they do, man. They destroy and they bring stuff to a lower estate. The little dude in the beginning was trying to save his little sister, and she turned the nigga into a cat. You see, so he went from a son of man to a damn sons of men, a person of the sons of men to a cat. You see, hell. She said the witch is back and there's hell to pay. She was given answer as to future or doubtful things. You know, what's going to be the outcome. You know, they just do it on the complete demonic left-hand side, man. Now, wizard. This is really what I was talking about. Wizard. But that's all spiritual just right there, you know. And then the voodoo dolls, that's ventriloquist, man. What does it say? A spirit of divination, right? But a spirit of python. Now watch this. Python meaning, look, a large, heavily bodied, non-venomous snake occurring throughout the world, the old world. You see that? A large, heavily bodied, non-venomous snake. What is a serpent, man? You see? Occurring throughout the old world. Killing prey by constriction. What is constriction? The action of making something narrower by pressure or of becoming narrower. Tightening. You see what I'm saying? And that's all from the so-called white man's laws and rules and order and things he want to put in place, a place where something has become tighter or narrower, right? Meaning he can make it a damn law that you got to celebrate. Meaning he can make it a law that you got to celebrate, that you have to celebrate Halloween. And I'm gonna give you an example real quick, too. Yeah, and you got this word right here. Acidification is a condition of deficient supply of oxygen to the body that arises from abnormal breathing. So the word is breath, the breath of life, man, right? And when you don't have breath, your brain dies. Just did a lesson on that going into, you know what I'm saying, the same wash, you know, brain dead and all these other different things, man. Your body, your brain needs oxygen. Without that, you can't even think. See what I'm saying? So he cuts off people's oxygen through his however you pronounce this, asphyxia, right? Or asphyxia. You know, asphyxia. It says an example of asphyxia is choking. Asphyxia causes generalized. All these different things point which affects primarily the tissues and organ. Your organ, your brain, your main organ is a brain. Just did a lesson on all of this. All these things point back. Look, choking. All these things point back to the damn devil. Python, one who has a python spirit. That's the so-called white man. See what I'm saying? Why? Because he's able to slither. You see what I'm saying? He's the snake, he's the devil, he's the serpent. See what I'm saying? A large snake. What is a serpent? A large snake. A sly or treacherous person, especially one who exploits a position of trust in order to betray it. Revelation 12. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent. See? It's what you see in the beginning, man. So we know, and that's found, that place was taken here in America, man. We found that in America. So we know this is the place, man. That's the symbol of the so-called white man, the great dragon. He puts it on his NASA and all these different things, man. This, you can't even make this up. And prevail not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven. That's NASA. What is this? What is their symbol for SpaceX? It's a damn dragon, man. And the great dragon, right? All these things point to the so-called white man. Great, make America great again. Dragon, SpaceX, NASA project, going up to see if they can, missile watch for Yahweh Shah and the angels, and live on Mars, man, and discover all these planets and stuff like that, and mine gold and bring it back, which is impossible for them. And the great dragon was cast out. That old serpent. See, going back into that word Python. Going back into that word Python. Listen, a large, heavily bodied, non-venomous snake occurring throughout the old world. You see, what old world? The first world, which was the world in which Eve was beguiled. You see what I'm saying? And he's back because he did it again, which is we're gonna go into in another lesson, going into the women in this damn Halloween spirit that's on them, man. This unclean spirit, which is just a demon, and the great dragon was cast out. That old serpent, called the devil and Satan, was deceived the whole world. You see, he, so-called white man, was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. See that? Can't make this up, man. So that's just interesting. You go into a wizard. It's a spirit of Python. You see? So these people got the spirit of Python. They got the spirit of Esau. You know? They got the spirit of Esau. You cannot make this up, man. Hit me when I'm lying, man. You know? So anyway, when you deal with these things, you become a defiled, unclean, and the unclean, defiled goes into Ma. You becomes possessed by your wicked works. You know, so-called white people do this, man. You know, they get into Christmas, all these different so-called holidays. You're not to learn the ways of the so-called white man. You don't even know the depths of what it is you're playing with, man. You know, niggas be like, man, well, it's all fun and games. We're just doing it for the kids. Proverbs 14 and 15. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. You see what I'm saying? A wise man feareth and departeth from evil, but the fool rageth and is confident. Man, bro, I ain't trying to hear that, man. You see, I ain't trying to hear this just for my kids, man. I already know this is. Remember, I was telling that to a dude, man. And how do you know if you're prudent? Proverbs 15 and 5, a fool despiseth his father's instruction. He said, don't deal with them that have familiar spirits, man, that's evoking the dead and playing with Ouija boards and voodoo dolls and all this other stuff, because you'll be unclean and defiled. You'll become tamad, right? You'll become profane by wickedness, you know? Unhallowed. See? Because that's what Esau deals with. He puts that, even if it's your own people, they learned it from him, man. But how do you know you prudent? 15 and 5. A fool despiseth his father's instruction, but he that regardeth reproof is prudent. And it's when you get corrected, because we didn't all know this at some time, you know, but now we know what this stuff is going into, man. This stuff is no good for us, you know, so you got to put it away, man, or you're going to be destroyed. Last one, Proverbs 22 and 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil. You see what I'm saying? And hideth himself. So before that day of Halloween come, you know this now. You already know people finna be channeling, evoking demons, trying to get answers back. That's why these people laying these things out in their yards, man. You see what I'm saying? They trying to get responses and knowledge and to carry out and finish the rest of their year up, you know, by worshiping Satan, by, you know, tapping into the power source through the left-hand side, you know? So a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. So you people gonna be defiled. You mess with that dead, you're gonna get demons on you. So we're gonna go into that now. Right? So Leviticus 19:31, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. I am the Yahweh your power. Numbers 19, and we'll start at 10. And he that gathereth I'm gonna start at 11. He that toucheth the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days. So the so-called white man knows what he's doing, man. They say the heart of every one of them is very deep. You see, the heart is desperately wicked. You know what I'm saying? It's very deep. So yeah, these so-called fake dead bodies, you know, really, for all you know, you don't even know that. You could touch it. Your baby can run up, touch one. You know what I'm saying? You know, kids always touching stuff. You see, you ain't even thinking. You don't even Are you gonna think that far? Are you gonna be simple and pass on, man? Are you gonna just believe every word? It's just all fun and games. He said it's fake. You know what I'm saying? Well, you don't know you need to watch this lesson, man. You know? You don't know that, because as soon as you touch it, you unclean. What does it mean to be unclean? Right? Profane by wickedness. Because this is a very wicked day, man. This has nothing to do with being hallowed on the right hand side. HALOWED. But hallowed on the left hand side. HOLLOWED. You know? Empty, vain. No fruit. If you don't have fruit, the Lord gonna cast you into the fire. You're gonna have those nukes hit you, man. That's why this place is written to be hit by nuclear missiles, man. It says, he shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day. And on the 7th day he shall be clean. But if he shall not purify himself the 3rd day, the 7th day he shall not be clean. Right? Because you got to correct yourself, get this word. But that's a whole nother thing. Whosoever toucheth the dead body of any man that is dead, and purify not himself, defileth the tabernacle of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. So you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, you better wake up, man, because you don't know if these people got real bodies. Even in the sense, they still dead bodies because it's spiritual. The Lord is not dealing with any of that, man. You know, and that soul shall be cut off from Israel. Don't you know if you dress up as a vampire, you dead? You got to repent now knowing all this. Because the water of separation was not sprinkled upon him, he shall be unclean. His uncleanness is yet upon him. So until you get this word. But anyway, it says, Numbers 19:14, this is the law. When a man dieth in a tent, all that come into the tent and all that is in the tent shall be unclean 7 days. And every slakia and every open vessel which have no covering upon it is unclean. So all your stuff is unclean when you go into this dirty day Halloween, man. Because it's nothing but most of the costumes and spirits people channeling, they dress up as this so they can channel this particular spirit, man. You see what I'm saying? These people really want to be half of these things they dress up as. You done been there, man. You know, a lot of us. Some people don't go as far as doing the dead thing, but it's dead. If you don't have any works, you dead. It's dead, man. You see? And whosoever toucheth one that is slain with a sword in the open field, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. And that's all you see. They got graves, one's dead in open fields. It's all spiritual, man. This is 100% all spiritual. You know, you touch a bone, it could be a real. You touch a bone, it could be a real bone. It could be a fake bone. It's still a spiritual dead bone. So now you're spiritually unclean. Because in that sense, you're physically unclean. Right? Even spiritually, because it was always the overtone of spirit, being spiritual unclean with that being said. Because you can't think just because you only got, well, if I got this on my shirt, considered unclean by the Lord, and I just take the shirt off, I'm not actually dirty. So that should show you right there. He wasn't actually always saying that. He was talking about in the spiritual sense, you know. Anyway, it says, moving on. Isaiah 8 and 10. Take counsel together and it shall come to naught. Speak the word and it shall not stand, for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is with us. We be out here rebuking Halloween and all this other stuff. We be out here rebuking Halloween and all this other stuff, and they could take counsel and say that, well, Halloween is not legal. You can't do that. And, you know, we at the end, so I doubt any of those things happen. But my point of getting this to show you this is talking about the heathens. Verse 11, for the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua spake thus to me with a strong hand and instructed me that I shall not walk in the way of this people. You see, saying, so that's that, man. You so-called Native American Indians and Hispanics, you got into this. You Negroes, also called, you Israelites got into it. This Hosea 9 and 1. Rejoice not, O Israel, for joy as other people. For thou hast gone a whoring from thy God. Thou hast loved a reward upon every corn floor. You know what? Before we get that, let's get this. Because I was supposed to be showing you the cleanliness. Right? So that's the dead body, right? You touch on a dead body, you unclean. The so-called white man knows that. This is Luke 8:26. So you can't touch a dead body. If you deal with those that have familiar spirits, these people that's out here actually on the so-called day Halloween trying to channel spirits, evoke spirits, bring to mind, bring to remembrance, summon, conjure up, you know, for divination, which is to seek knowledge. You know what I'm saying? All these different things. Why you think all these things, man? Miss Cleo, all these people, man. They're those are all familiar spirits because she's giving you knowledge of what could possibly happen in your life, right? Supposedly, you know, through the left-hand side, man. You know. Yeah, divination, the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. And you can see the pictures. You know, ain't none of this stuff in the scriptures, man. And then you notice that some of this stuff look like Paleo Hebrew, man. These people finished, man. A lot of this stuff is Paleo Hebrew. So this is 100% true. This is 100% true, man. This is what goes down 24/7, but primarily on this day, man. That's what people getting into, the elites. They definitely channeling spirits, man, because they want to know how they could, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, if you got to go kill this guy named George Floyd. But really, they don't know. Say the demon tells them that. Because I got a comment last night about a brother telling me the demons used to talk to him. A Jake in the world telling me demons used to talk to him when he was a child and whisper in his ear. And yell and all this other stuff. So this stuff is real. So the elite banker can get told like, yo, take this guy George Floyd out. Whole time, George Floyd, he was taken out to bring forth all the prophecies the Lord needed. So that's why evil is you know, is not speedily judged, man. So men's heart is fully set in them to do evil. You see? They're like, man, I might as well do that then. That's what's hitting. You ain't gonna make it being a rapper talking about being conscious. You see, I gotta do it like this. You see, that's so everybody's getting into this on that day because this is headed by the so-called white man. Say the earth is given into the wicked, not Eminem from 8 Mile, Jacob Rothschild, all these Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. You know, all these people, the 13 bloodlines, man. They definitely tap into the power, the power, you know what I'm saying, on the left-hand side. So our sacrificing is a part of the industries and all of these other different things, man. Because they know that's how it go down, man. They just do it on the left-hand side. So it's just so it's not odd that these cards and things you see look like Paleo Hebrew. Thus showing you is just one truth. When you look in the scriptures, evoking spirits and divination is real. The prophets divinate, man. Dreams is divination. You see dreams about the things the prophets been telling you about. The things the prophets read about. You see what I'm saying? That's divination. That's the Lord talking to you. He talks through the prophets. Because the true prophets say what the Lord says, and that's what's gonna happen. And if that ain't saying what's gonna happen, that's not a prophet, man. You know? So yeah. You know what I'm saying? So my whole point once again being, man, if he said don't dealings with these people, this is what this day is about, or you'll become unclean. You'll get demons on you. So it's just when you go outside, you're subject to touching these dead bodies, man. They got dead bodies all over the place, fake bones, and you see what I'm saying? You being amongst that, you can't do that, man. You'll become unclean. Let's get it. Luke 8:26. What does it really mean to be unclean? And they arrived at the country of the Gadarenes, which is over against Galilee. And he went forth to the land. And there met him out of the city a certain man which had devils long time, and wear no clothes, neither abode in any house, but in the tombs. You see? So this guy had demons on him. So this should show you right here, when you got demons on you, you're subject to do certain crazy acts. But anyway, let's keep going. It says certain actions. It says when he saw, and the Lord is not with these actions. So that's demons, right? And when he saw Yahweh Shah, he cried out and fell down before him with a loud voice, said, with a loud voice said, "What have I to do with thee, Yahweh Shah, thou son of power most high, Yahweh most high?" He said, thou son of power most high, I beseech thee, torment me not. For he had commanded the unclean spirit, see that, to come out of the man. For oftentimes it had caught him, and he was kept bound with chains and in fetters. So that's why, ironically, when you look up the word unclean, it looked like it says tame. You're possessed when you're unclean, right? You made profane with wickedness. You got a demon on your mind now. You're subject, when you do certain wicked acts, you get demons. You're subjected to being possessed by a demon, man. Them grabbing a hold of you, right? And your thoughts. That's that. And your actions. Because your actions is, see, they got that python constricted. You see that? And that's all the spirit of Esau. So he's constricting. Those is demons. When he's trying to get you in the spirit to go out and do this and observe this so-called holiday and all this crap. That's him trying to slither up and wrap himself around you and squeeze you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he's doing. It says, and he brake the bands and was driven of the devil into the wilderness. You see? So the devil, he hops on your mind. These demons, they hop on your mind. They control your actions and stuff like that. So these people got demons on them, and they gotta have more if they actually trying to like get into it. This dude laid out, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. So that's it, man. Just getting to the point. It's an unclean thing you're partaking in. You know, after hearing this and knowing this, you're subject to all these things when you go out. Right? Once you're amongst these things. and these thought processes and these commercials and these songs and stuff like that, man. That's the devil trying to do, so-called white man, through his access to the power, which is the back door, the left hand. But anyway, this is Luke 8:30. And Yahushua asked him, saying, "What is thy name?" And he said, "Legion," because many devils were entered into him. Now, and they besought him that he will not command them to go out into the deep. So you can have tons of demons on you. And once again, these demons, when you go back into it, it says, verse 29, for he had commanded the unclean spirit. You see, unclean. That's that profane spirit. That spirit of wickedness. That spirit of profaneness. Esau's profane. The scriptures tell us this. He hates instruction. So that's what it simply means, man. When you're adverse to the Father, when you do something adverse to the Father, that's wickedness, and you're subject to being possessed, with those spirits. So, amen. They show you that on that movie Goosebumps. The little dude or girl had dressed up. She put on this green mask. I remember when I was like a child, growing up. And, people get into it, but not knowing the mask that she bought from the man, because this man made like real detailed masks. The mask will become real, because you got so into it, that wickedness, and to where the mask formed to her face and will not come off. And she was scared, Mike put a clip on it, man. And that's becoming what? Possessed through your wickedness, man. So don't be surprised if you get into these certain acts and, all right, you subject to it taking you over. Your thought process and your physical being. So the man was bound with chains, man. For he had commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man, for oftentimes it had caught him, and he was kept bound with chains and in fetters. And he brake the bands and was driven of the devil into the wilderness. So these spirits are strong too, because they control your physical now. But anyway, it's crazy. It says, back to the point, and they besought him that he would not command them to go into the deep. And there was and heard of many swine feeding on the mountain, and they besought him that he would suffer them to enter into them, and he suffered them. Then with the devils out of the man and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the lake, and were choked. Like that choke again, man. See that? That's that python spirit. See that? In which they said that woman had. She had a python spirit. She had the python spirit. That's what the devil do. That's what these demons do. That's what these unclean spirits do. They choke you up, right? Matthew 13:22. He also that receiveth the seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word. So the word is the seed. What word? The word is his Bible in its complete totality, right? Old Testament, New Testament, including the Apocrypha in between. And the care of, so he also that received seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the thorns liken unto, these demons. It say, is he that heareth the word and the care of this world. And the care of this world and the deceitfulness of richness, Slakia. And the deceitful, he also that receives seed among the thorns, which is these demons, right? Remember we went back to the do men gather thistles and thorns? No. You see that? It's he that heareth the word and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches. Choke the word and he becometh unfruitful. See that? So this world and the ways of it, what's found in this world, the ways of the so-called white man, the tradition, these holidays, that can cause you to choke the word. See that? Those demons choke you up. Pythons choke you out. A python is a snake. A serpent is just a large snake. The snake, the serpent is the dragon, the devil, the red horse, the so-called white man. See that? So Halloween could cause you to choke the word. Right? When you choke, you just simply can't do anything with the word. You're adverse to the word now. So, verse 34, and they that fed them saw what was done, they fled. And when they that fed them, talking about the pigs, the swine, saw what was done, they fled and went and told it in the city and in the country. Then they went out to see what was done, and came to Yahushua and found the man out of whom the devils were departed, sitting at the feet of Yahushua, clothed and in his right mind. You see? And in his right mind. So that's even spiritual. You got the left-hand side and the right-hand side, and they were afraid. So the man was, when you have an unclean spirit on you, when you're unclean, you have demons on you, man. And demons possess you, your physical and your mindset, to where you're on the left-hand side now. You think on the left-hand side now. See that? You can have tons of them on you. So that's what it means to be unclean, right? So if you touch a dead body, you're unclean. If you deal with familiar spirits, and that's pretty much what's the focal point of this so-called Halloween day. You will be unclean. You can get demons on you. You can become possessed. We're not supposed to do nothing these people do. And this is to bring you out. This is Matthew 10:1. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits. Those is demons, see, to cast them out, man. Profane spirits, right? Which you can obtain by certain acts of wickedness, man. And Halloween is definitely wicked if you don't see it by the end of this, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Ephesians 5:5, for this ye know, that no whoremonger nor unclean person. What is an unclean person? A person who has demons on them, nor covetous man who is an idolater hath any inheritance in the kingdom of Hamashiach and of power. See that? And how can you become unclean? By dealing with familiar spirits, those that's out here evoking demons, eliciting, like this dude was said to be doing. See, eliciting. Eliciting is a synonym for evoking. You see, to get an answer from, a response from guest. What guest? You know now, the demons, which is divination. So he's trying to divine here to get the power, because these Edomites, a lot of these people know this is real. The spiritual world is real, man. Spiritual realm is 100% real. In it, you can gain access to the foresight of things, your future, certain things you could do. And they obtain things they want by the left-hand side, by tapping into that power, the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, but on the left-hand side, man. Now, they don't know his name is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that much understanding, but they do know that that there is a creator, and the spiritual realm is 100% real, man. That's the whole point of this. And Esau is behind people doing this. They do this because this is the ways of their ruler, the ways of America. This is the wine that has made everyone drunk. See, he's eliciting more than gas from his neighbors. Yeah, he's eliciting demons and divination, unseen knowledge that you cannot get. You know, the practice, divination, the practice of seeking knowledge. See, he's practicing. This is his practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. You know, different ways you could tap into it, man. Now, let no man deceive you with vain words. So you can't even, if you deal with any of that stuff, those are dead, spiritual dead bodies. Touch a dead bone, touch a grave, you are unclean. You can get demons on you, actually. Because those are unclean spirits, so you need an unclean vessel. That's why it's physical and spiritual. You won't get in the kingdom celebrating Halloween, because you'll have unclean spirits on you, and you'll have a demonic mindset. See that? You'll have an unclean mindset. Ain't nobody with demons on them is getting in the kingdom of heaven, man. Right? It's getting on those chariots in that condition. So that's why we want to be learning this and coming out of it. So this is how he gave us power to do it on a lower level, to give you this word, to take away all unclean spirits off of people through these lessons, man. So you can inherit the kingdom of Yahweh Basham Yahushua, which is your inheritance if you're a so-called black, aka Negro, Hispanic, or Native American Indian. Let no man deceive you with vain words. For because of these things cometh the wrath of Yahweh Basham Yahushua upon the children of disobedience. You see, disobedience, right? Meaning you're against what the Most High says. You put down the commandments of Yahweh Basham Yahushua to pick up the traditions of man. Well, it's just all fun, man. See, those are vain words. You're not going to get nothing out of Halloween. Hollow meaning empty, pointless, unfruitful. You know? You're going to vain in the Greek. It's the same thing. Empty, vain, devoid of truth, which contain nothing, without a gift, empty-handed, destitute of spiritual wealth. Right, on the right-hand side of whom boasts of his faith as a transcendent the possession, yet is without the fruit of faith, the fruits of faith. You believe, if you truly are apple tree, I should see apples, right? So you prove your faith and that you believe by what you do, by having works to show it. Metaphor of endeavors, labors, acts which result in nothing. Vain, fruitless, without effect, vain of no purpose. See that? So that's what Halloween is, man. So let no man deceive you with Halloween words, man. Vain words. You know, it's just for the kids. Man, you can express your art. I think you should do an art show on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, we just being creative, bro. Like, I'm with the Most High and all that. No, bro. For because of these things cometh the wrath of God upon the children of disobedience. America will be destroyed for this, because this is where the highest concentration of Israelites are at. North and South America. Be not ye partakers with them. See that? These Edomites and the rest of these heathens. For ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye in the light of the Lord. Walk as children of light. See that? For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth. See? So you're not partaking in Halloween, because hollow means to be vain, because hollow means empty, and vain is empty, aka devoid of truth. Halloween means to be devoid of truth. It say, for the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, not devoid of truth. Proving what is acceptable unto the Lord. So that's why we're here, man. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. For it is even a shame, for it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. You know, because you got these elites that get into it, man. And then you got a lot, your women probably get into this. A lot of you women, you know, a lot of you women's men, They really get, they're really witches, warlocks, sorceress. You know what I'm saying? On the right hand side, on the left hand side, man, like heavy. They go beyond the call of let's take the kids to have some fun. You know what I'm saying? Nah, you know, you're not getting in the kingdom doing Halloween, according to this, man. And the so-called white man know that he wants to take you down with him. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, because you're the Israelites. He's Esau. You're Jacob. He's Esau. He hates you. You know. Now, with that being said, it says have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness. You see, because when you're vain, when you're hollow, you have no fruits. Halloween is pointless. There's no fruit. If you don't have any fruit, you will be a tree cast into the fire. You're gonna be left for World War III, right? Defend for yourself when a nuke shot over here. You see, in the works of darkness. Now, I'm gonna get this, and this is gonna be it. This is the origin of Halloween. Halloween, All Hallows Eve, right? All Hallows Evening, also known as All Halloween, All Hallows Eve, All Saints Eve, right? It says is a celebration observed in many countries on 31st October, the eve of the Western Christian feast of All Hallows Day. You see? So this is what's West America. And all the other countries East celebrate it. Halloween. It begins the observance of Hallowtide. See? It observes the traditions of man. What man? The so-called white man, Esau. The dragon, the serpent, the snake, the python spirit. You see that? The time in the liturgical year dedicated to remembering the dead, including saints, hallows, martyrs, and all the faithful departed, right? The faithful to him. Anyway, one theory holds that many Halloween traditions may have been influenced by ancient Celtic harvest festivals, particularly Gaelic Samhain, which may have had pagan roots. Some scholars hold that the Samhain, and I did some research of the Celtics, the Celtics, you know, a lot of these names people have goes back to Celtic names and Gaelic names or whatever, but I can't even go into it now because it's such, you know, a detailed thing. But anyway, it says, but it has reverence, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, it says some scholars hold that Samhain may have been Christianized as All Hallows Day. So they pretty much saying Halloween came from Samhain, right? Include along with this eve by the early church. Other academics believe, however, that Halloween began solely as a Christian holiday. Well, that's off. Cause how holy day is that? Being the vigil of All Hallows Day. Where is that in the scriptures? See, lies, traditions of men. See that? The Python spirit. Because Jake came up with all their wickedness through the wicked that were on the earth. You know? Because they are holy vessels. All Israelites are supposed to be holy vessels. You know? Now what they put in it is a whole nother thing. What the Father allows to be put in it, that's a whole nother thing. Dwell within it, whole nother thing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit this and I'm going to close this out. Samhain / Callan Gaeth marked the end of the harvest season and beginning of winter, or the darker half of the year. And that's spiritual because that's what Joe Biden just said in his debate. He said it's about to be a dark winter. So these elites know exactly what, you know what I'm saying, all these different times of the year. And that's why they put the specific day called Halloween. You know what I'm saying? Just like they show you in the movie Purge. It's a specific time of the year when people get to channel and do this. You see what I'm saying? Like all it comes back to these people, man. You know, at Samhain, it was believed that the Osiris needed to be propitiated. You see, to ensure the people. So that's uh, pretty much having its advantages or making sure it's going to come true. You know, propitiate.
propitious, propitious, propitious,
Giving or indicating a good chance of success. You see? So at Samhain, it was believed that Asosai needed to be propitiated to ensure that the people and their livestock survive the winter. You see? Now, what is I? They didn't highlight that word. So whatever it is, that's what they were propitiating. It says the souls. It says Slakia offerings of food and drinks or portions of the crops were left outside for the Asosai. The souls of the dead were also said to revisit their homes seeking hospitality. See that, man? Hey, man. You know, you don't want nothing to do with this Halloween stuff, man. You know, candles to say that in the 19th century Ireland, candles would be lit and prayers formally offered to the souls of the dead. Slakin for the souls of the dead. After this, the eating, drinking, and games will begin. Yeah, man. So you don't, throughout Ireland and Britain, the household festivities included rituals and games intended to foretell one's future. See that? Especially regarding death and marriage. So these people was dealing with divination practices. Apples and nuts were used in these divination rituals. These people are look. You got scrying, mirror gazing, all this, man. Look, dream interpretations. They say special bonfires were lit, and they were rituals involving them. Their flames and smokes, their flame, smoke, and ashes were deemed to have protective cleansing powers, and were also used for divinations. You know, so because all this the Lord actually deals with, it's just not accepted from everybody, and it's not always on the right hand side. Like Cain, he made a sacrifice too. See that? But it wasn't accepted. Abel's was. So just to get a quick date on this, and then I'm gonna close this out. You can look up this on your own. It says, so they believe that came. They believe it came from Samhain. Um, and this is 1833. So you know dang well these are so-called white people. You know, Edomites. It said this was in 1883. This painting shows people feasting and playing divination games on Halloween in Ireland. Because at that point, we weren't the people anymore of these places. Because we used to rule those places, the so-called blacks, you know, during the Dark Ages. You know. See, Samhain is a Gaelic festival marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, or the darker half of the year. Because they get into these dark things, man. So that's exactly what Halloween goes back to. Samhain, and then you got Asosai. It says it's the Irish term for supernatural race. So we know dang well this is talking about these heathens doings, these Edomites. They probably talking about demons, or they're talking about themselves, you know. So they're talking. Matter of fact, he's talking about demons because they said Asosai had to be propitiated to, you know, during Samhain. So Samhain is just simply, it says that Samhain is what it is what it was it is what it was believed that Asosai needed to be propitiated to ensure that the people and their livestock survived the winter. You see, offerings and of food and drink or proportions of the crops were left outside for the Asosai. So that's a supernatural race. So that's for the demons. You see that? So this is how these people make their ends. Like you supposed to make your ends and get your requests made and keep having a good and lawful life. You see them a good life according to the Lord. You see that? This is Exodus 20:1. It says, and the power spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord Yahweh, thy God, power, which have brought thee, the Israelites, out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You see, thou shalt have no other gods before me. You see, this is how we make. This is how we get our daily bread. This is how you make your walk, your life fruitful. You know what I'm saying? Beneficial for you. It says, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is. So they were worshiping the left hand angels. You see, that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath, under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, because the heathens do that. For I, the Lord Yahweh, thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So this is how, in verse 6, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. You see, so there you go, man. So the Lord, this is the concept of having a God. It comes from us, the Israelites. You see, to make us be beneficial, for our lives to be beneficial, we have to worship our Creator. You know, He shews mercy unto them that love Him. Right? How do you show you love Him? By keeping His commandments. His commandments consisted of things like offerings, sacrificing. Romans 12:1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God. You see that? By the mercies of Yahweh Bashmiel Shah, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice. So they get this from us, but they just do it on the left-hand side. Holy and acceptable unto God, right? Unto Yahweh Bashmiel Shah. See, hallowed. The word, the one they spell out and use, which they actually are proving they're doing the other one. You know, the HOLLOWED. You see, or without the ED. Holy and acceptable unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua, which is your reasonable service. You see that? We got to worship Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua, not some supernatural race. It says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua. You see that? So these people is just going off. So yeah, this is where this stuff comes from. You see the spirits or fairies, you know, it was seen as a liminal time when the boundary between this world and the other world thinned. That's why they're on the 31st, it's going to be all types of spirits down here, man. It says that meant This meant the Asosai, pronounced Ishi, or it's Ishi, monster, that's a monster. The spirits or fairies could more easily come into this world and were particularly active. You see that? Most scholars see the Isishi as degraded versions of ancient gods. You see that? Whose power remained active in the people's mind even after they had been officially replaced by later religious beliefs. So these people still hold on to that. These people probably worship the Isishi. You see? Isishi. It's crazy, man. So this is what all this goes back to, man. This is 100% where it goes back to in the essence, but it's all in the scriptures, and it's dealing with unclean spirits and the worshiping of the angels on the left hand side, man. And the Lord, you can't do that. He told us don't do that. They don't actually have him, so that's why they do it. And they understand. They put it on a particular time because they understand things like that, man. The left hand will give you. That's what divination is. They found out. They probably told them like, yo, this one we come down during this time. So they come with their own holidays, bro. Talk about that in Sirach, the 17th chapter. Israel was the Lord's portion. He gave everybody else their own stuff, man. Deuteronomy 32nd chapter, 8th verse talk about this. You see what I'm saying? So this is Halloween, the truth behind Halloween. Hey, man, according to the word of Yahweh Shem Shah, so Lord willing, this has been edifying, man. I pretty much covered everything. Verse 11, Ephesians 5 and 11, and have no fellowship with unfruitful works of darkness. See, because that's what Samhain is. This is the darker part of the year, man. The end of the harvest. You see, the dark winter Joe Biden mentioned, who happened to be an Edomite, the serpent, you see? But rather reprove them. You see, for it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them and seek in secret. You see? But all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light. See, that we making it clear that that's what they doing. This is no good, man. And that's why this place will be destroyed. For whatsoever though to make manifest is light. You see? So if you can clearly see that what they doing is no good, this was light. See that? So wherefore he said, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead. You see? And Hamashiach shall give thee light. He gonna give you more. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools. Our people gonna be like, man, this is for the kids. You going too deep, bro. I don't do all that. God know my spirit. All right, okay. You know your works. You see that? You full of crap. But as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. You see, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. See, look, so Lord willing, this has been edifying. I'm going to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem El Shah.